Now that we got our hose hooked up, we're going to turn the water on. Water's flowing. You notice that it's flowing out the back and out the front, so that is one issue. But if we start the engine here, notice we got just barely a little bit of a dribble. And sometimes you might not have any water out of there at all. We've actually got a decent stream right now, but sometimes you'll notice that there is no water coming out of there. Part of that issue, let me turn this off and I'll show you. Part of that issue has to do with this. So you see how the water is pouring out this side and out that side? Over here's probably a better example. We got water flowing right out the back of here. Part of the issue could be that your muffs are not getting enough pushing against the lower unit and you're losing all your water out the sides. But the other reason is because of the functionality of the impeller. So let me take the lower unit off and show you exactly what I'm talking about with the functionality of the impeller and this water system here. We are doing a service on this, but I want you to see this. So here are the lower unit water pickups. So water goes into here, right? And underneath this plate, you can see down in there. So that little cavity there is where this water flows. So this comes all the way up. If I get a flashlight, it'll make it easier for you to see. So if I take a flashlight and I shine a light in here, you can see it. So you see that cavity goes straight down. So the water comes in here and it goes straight up and it goes underneath there. Now this plate sits on top of that like this. So there's your water pump plate. The water will all be in here, and it has this little hole for it to come up through, and when it gets up into that hole, this is where our impeller is. Let me put the impeller on there so I can further demonstrate. So this is our impeller. Here's our new impeller. You'll notice these vanes, they flip out. So that creates a movement where it's going to push water. You see how these are all bent over? That's just because this one's old, it's been sitting in the housing, it's been ran quite a bit, so that kind of affects the effectiveness of this and how much pressure that it's going to create. But I'm going to slide this down on here and then we're going to talk more about how this moves water. See how you've got these blades that go just around that hole. So the water that's sitting here comes up into there and it fills this little spot. So there's a cap that goes on top of this. Here you go. This is the top of it. And this slides down and sits on top of that. You notice how the impeller vanes are sticking out? They're going to sit inside of this housing in this little cup. So water's going to fill the space. Water's going to fill the space in between these vanes and the top of the cap. Then it's going to, as it spins, move that water around here, and here is the housing that it goes in. So you'll notice that on the back of the housing you have this scoop there. Kind of hard to see this. So you see how it kind of scoops right there, from there to there, but where this is positioned, that scoop is going to be on this side of the impeller, and there's where it goes out. So water's going to be moved around here, and when it moves around there, it's going to push it out. That's what builds the pressure and moves the water, and the faster this spins, the more pressure it creates, because it just keeps putting new water. You know, it grabs the water here, it pushes it around, and then it's stuck here. So when it comes back around, it grabs more water, so it's consistently taking more water and pushing the water up. So this does not really create all that much of a vacuum per se, which would suck the water in and then push it up. It basically just creates pressure. Yes, there is a little bit of vacuum, but not as much as you would think. So when we're talking about running this on the hose and you have this sitting on top of it, let me put this all together and we'll put the muffs on here and turn the muffs on so you can see how much water is really in here, what's really going on. Okay.